Radio Hereford FC, the only station with full match commentaries of the Bulls. Every game, every week.
Hello and welcome again to We're Going Down the Pub with me, Frank Williams, and the ground guide guru, that is Mr. Simon Wright.
Hello again. My word, it seems ages since our last ground guide, doesn't it?
This is ground guide to January away games, part 2.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I'm sorry. You know, the last time I told you that I have nothing more interesting to say about you than ground guide guru, and that last time I looked up ground guide guru.
You did.
On
Yes.
Google to see what came. Well, actually, I've done it again, and I've come up with something else.
Oh no.
The ground guide guru is a woman who works for the Daily Telegraph, and she does articles on how to get rid of invasive weeds.
Yeah. Marvellous, yeah.
The ground elder. She did an article. It's on the net. Did an article on how to get rid of that invasive weed that is ground elder. So that is a ground guide guru with the Daily Telegraph.
I don't know what to say, Frank.
Well, I don't know. You've told us about a lot of invasive weeds, but not how to get rid of them, unfortunately.
No. Well, do you realise between part 1 and part 2 we just about emptied this pub? We must be. Our conversation must be so stimulating.
Well, I might have to put in some extra background. There are people out there who think that we do this in the studio.
No.
Yes, and that I use a continuous backing loop of background noises.
Just slip some beer, would that help?
Yeah. Well, these background noises, you see, they say, oh, I'm sure I've heard that one before. Well, actually, the same people are in here every week, drinking the same beer, making the same noises.
Of course it is.
Therefore, I don't need any of that sort of thing. We are in a pub. We are doing this live. And we have...
I'm trying to be FG and it's good stuff.
There's one bloke in the pub, and I think he's listening. But anyway, it doesn't matter. We're going to look at Yate Town, to be played on the 21st of January. Absolutely. Guest contributor to this is David Jeffrey. Is this the first one he's done for us?
I think he might have done the second. This might be his second one. Apologies,
right, okay.
David. I'm blurring now as to who's done what. It's been a very busy season.
You have been in the pub all day as well.
Yeah, don't tell everybody. All day.
Not this pub.
No,
you have been in various pubs.
Yeah. I'm terribly sorry about that, chaps. And,
don't be sorry. Don't apologise.
No.
Well, you can apologise to me because you didn't invite me. But there we are.
Yeah. Well, you were on Google checking on my
on the ground guide.
Interrupt. But yeah.
Well, thank you for this, David. You've done a cracking job.
Yeah, I think you've made silk purse Sarah's ear.
Well, if you go onto Wikipedia and look up Yate Town, there's about 4 lines, and their website is about as good as that. So,
yeah, okay. Well, I mean, the club has been around for a very long time, but they haven't really shouted about their existence. They haven't done anything.
Well, they should have done because they're very close to us. They're only 50 miles away from Hereford.
Isn't that strange? We've unaware of them.
Not as a club, but as a town. You would think that we would, as Herefordians, we would know everywhere within 50 miles of us.
You would.
Yeah, Yate.
Right. Yeah. No, completely oblivious. I just vaguely thought it was a bit of Bristol, but it's not. It's a Gloucestershire town in its own right.
It is Gloucestershire. Yes, it is. Yeah. Between Bristol and Bath, actually.
Yes.
At least you don't have to go through Bristol to get to it. You actually get off before Bristol.
You do.
Yeah, it's an easy one to get to.
Yeah. Okay. Good old Yate. Apparently the football club are holding all their resources to try and buy their ground in 2 years' time. And as a result, there's no real budget for the team. So what they've got in their squad, they're young, cheap and homegrown in the main.
Right.
Having a fairly indifferent season, as the league table will prove, but it's good enough. With the bottom 2 making such a cobblers of things, they don't have to be that great to stay up. And almost half of their points have come from games against the bottom 3. Don't score a lot of goals. Jack Ball, it's a great name for a footballer, isn't it? Yeah. Jack Ball is their top scorer. By the time you see him in action, he may well be in double figures, but he hasn't quite got there yet. Harvey Rivers in goal, of course.
Well, you would imagine he might still be with them.
Well, he does get through a lot of clubs, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah, that's his sixth club.
We're recording this after he's just made his debut.
Yeah.
And I think they beat Didcot 3-2.
Yeah.
But Harvey was responsible for the 2 Didcot goals. Unfortunately, one was a penalty he gave away, and the other one he was threw into his own net.
Yeah. So things can only get better, eh?
No.
Yeah, he's a good lad. Anyway, hard to find anybody else who sort of grabs your attention in the Yates squad. I mean, there's a huge striker called Josh Morgan Williams. He's managed to get himself sent off twice this season. But he looks like the sort of player who sort of plays, 10 games for one club, then goes off another 10 games if he's lucky, maybe 5. It's just that sort of club. I really want to be enthusiastic about it, but it's hard work.
Well, okay. You've got a different script to me, which is rather nice, because I've got different things to you on here. This is one you set me. I was quite interested in what you say about the town itself. You put it can appear a little soulless.
Well, that's David was there.
Well,
sniffing around.
Well, he said he's got a 60s shopping precinct.
Yeah.
And a recent expansion to include a generic multiplex cinema and retail chain. It sounds a bit like Dudley to me, mate.
Yeah. Well, David did make an effort to make sure, and there is the Weatherspoons there. So.
Yes, hiding amongst the poundlands.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll come back to Weatherspoons a bit later on.
Yes.
But, happy days. Let's talk a bit about the ground. It's on the edge of town, 2,000 capacity, the Jelf Stadium.
Jelf?
Oh, I don't know, Jelf, I assume it's the sponsor's name. Used to be called Lodge Road because it's in Lodge Road, surprisingly enough. Got 3 covered areas, so we won't freeze necessarily. Seated main stand, 236 seats. That's very
precise, isn't it?
Thank you, David. You must have counted them.
And then there'll be about 104 of those left over after we took all our radio equipment in.
Yeah, the media team's descended. Yeah, no, we would. Standing behind the dugouts. So
that's always interesting.
Oh, it is.
I like these grounds where they're standing behind the dugouts, covered standing behind the dugouts, because you hear everything.
You do.
Yeah, but not for the faint-hearted.
No. Well, if you're behind Ian Long, it doesn't matter. Or if you're in the same ground as Ian Long, you'll hear every word.
I'd love to have been behind the dugouts with Ian Long and Beats, wouldn't you?
Oh, you imagine the stimulating conversation, yeah.
They're always on the other side to us, and the media team, unfortunately. Which is probably a good job, because most of it would not have been broadcastable.
No.
They'd have been too close to our mics. Yeah.
Not nice.
Anyway, there is standing behind the dugouts.
Standing behind the dugouts, and there's a terrace behind one of the goals, and the rest is just sort of hard standing.
Well, and some grassy areas.
Yeah, the usual sort of stuff, Now, the entrance is a slightly curious one. It's £8.50 for adults. Concessions £5.50 and juniors £2. That's an awful lot of 50p's, isn't
I can't understand why you would be stupid enough to add 50 pences on. Because think of the amount of change you've got to have. You've got to go down the bank on the Friday night and say, about 400 quid worth of 50p pieces, please, to give the change out. You'd have thought, okay, come on, make it 8 quid, or even make it 9 quid. I don't mind. Yeah.
They've got a ground to buy. Let's be honest.
Well, this is true.
Again, car park, yes, probably going to be okay. It's decent size at the ground, and there's overflow area nearby.
I thought it was a boat full of fish. Now, I'm sorry.
What?
How when I downloaded your...
completely different script.
It's a completely different script. You said it's a size...
Oh, no.
It's a carp ark.
Carp ark,
It's a boat full of fish to me. But anyway.
Oh, dear.
But there's also overflow parking. No rugby club.
My word, that's 2 in a row.
2 in a row. January could be full of away matches with no
egg chasers.
Rugby clubs. Mind you, we're not far enough southwest on these games. You see, we're in Gloucestershire here, so we could expect that.
It's almost egg chasing free, but you've got to go back to Mango's. They've got Cleaver RFC next to them.
They have.
But anyway. Where was we? There's street parking, there's overflow, so we're not going to be struggling to park.
Right.
Just the balls, they've got car spaces reserved for them by the clubhouse, big entrance gate, level access throughout. So, they've hit everything they need to hit, so good on them.
Yeah.
Refreshments, this is as ever the highlight, most important thing people need to know about. Now, we're promised it's a well-stocked bar. Mind you, we've heard promises before, and I remember the nightmare that was Highgate.
Any real ales?
It's got 2 real ales,
Right.
2 ciders, and lager.
Now, does it say what those real ales are?
No.
Because if it's Doom Bar, you wouldn't class it, would you?
No, I wouldn't, but okay. But let's take it to their 2 proper real ales. And got Sky Sports if you want it. Usual sort of food stuff, nothing, just all the usual
Hot
stuff.
dogs, burgers, yeah.
You name it. Yeah. Now, bear in mind it's on the outskirts of Yate, so there are 3 pubs within easy walking distance.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a bit
Good.
of a hike. Okay.
Yep.
Now, one of the 3 stands out, but the nearest is the Fox, which is a Marston's house. Now, this is one of these sort of 2-for-1 all-day menu places,
Right.
which is really food-led.
Yeah, no, I have to say, the 2-for-1s, Masters, around here, we've got them around here.
We have them
There's 2 or
everywhere,
3 around here. If you know Kidderminster at all, do you know the Land Oak at Kidderminster?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
Dreadful.
Right.
Shocking pub.
Right.
Food is shocking. And yet, 3 miles from that, you've got Harvington, which is a 2-for-1 pub. The Dog at Harvington.
Yeah.
Magnificent.
Yeah.
And always packed. These Marston's 2-for-1s are...
They vary.
They're either brilliant
Right.
or rubbish. We don't know about this one.
No, we don't.
But
however, it's essentially a place to eat rather than drink. Okay?
Absolutely.
We would suggest that you just carry on walking. It's basically in the next street, North Street. It's the Cross Keys. Open from noon, serves food. It's a free house. With traditional boozer, 2 bars. One's got a fire, open fire. I thought that's going to be handy in January. And the other one's got a feature fireplace. But more interestingly, it's got Courage Best, Draft Bass, Bloody Doom Bar, and passing on, and 3 guests.
But it is at least a real ale, I think.
Yeah.
It's an ale, and it exists, so it's
omnipresent,
real.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, pardon the diversion there, folks. Basically, it's got 6 real ales, and so with food, and it's a very warm place. So it's probably going to be where you want to go. Okay. There is one other pub, I believe also in North Street, called the Codrington Arms. Now, if I tell you that they promote themselves for business meetings and a wedding venue, that probably says much about where they want to position themselves,
Yeah.
And they've got a very extensive wine list. So, and surprise, surprise, it sells Bloody Doom Bar again.
Right.
But also GWR Maiden Voyage. Now, I'm not familiar with that one. I assume it's a Southwest beer. But as I said, it may not be a comfortable environment for everybody. So of the 3, Cross Keys. As I said before, anything else, you need to walk into town. Now, for those enthusiasts who just think Wetherspoons is where beer starts and ends, the local Wetherspoons is called Thorns Park, and it's in South Parade, in the middle of the town, but you are looking at a 1.2 mile walk.
So that Cross Keys sounds...
when you go to the Cross Keys, 6 rail hours in the next street, you really want to go that far. Okay.
And no Royal Oak again?
No Royal Oak again? No.
Is he not far north enough?
No. David has an idea. If you want to do something before or after the game, Chipping Sodbury is just 3 miles away.
This?
Parking is free. It's a medieval market town. Lots of decent pubs, dozens of real ales apparently. David particularly recommends the Horseshoe, not least because they sell decent Wye Valley Brewery products. And the George Hotel he'd also recommend as a good place to get lots of beer. Loads and loads of food, restaurants, Chinese, Indian, Thai and Italian.
But no Turkish, and nothing about cakes.
I'm terribly sorry.
But there'll be a Greg's if nothing else.
Oh yeah, well clearly as I may not be there, I haven't focused too much on it, but
the cake man.
Yeah, 52 miles, so it's very doable, and it's actually doable by train, although these things always come with a it's tedious caveat.
Yes, yeah.
It's 2 hours, so you have to change at Newport and Filton. And David reckons a return ticket normal price is about 28 quid from Hereford. So
well, it's not going to be that much with Reg.
Of course, it's not.
I would have thought it's one of his 15 quidders.
Yes, I think so. Maybe even less. But right on the station is the Railway Inn. So
how surprising!
Yes,
it's either going to be called the Railway Inn or the station.
Yeah, it's one of the two. I mean, it's had mixed reviews, so you may not want to go there. It's it's a mile walk from there. So it's 2 hours into Yate and then another mile walk. So it's doable. You can't get to many grounds by train, so you might want to do it just for the novelty.
It's got an interesting geographical layout, though, hasn't it?
Oh, it's a curious one, yes.
The station, it is.
yes, it sounds vaguely almost like Cradley Station, but there you go. The southbound platform is accessed on the other side of the main road to the northbound one.
Right, no, the other side is on the other side of the tracks, but the other side of the main road, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, so when it runs underneath.
It sounds almost like a London tube station.
I was thinking the same thing, so.
But it's not. Yeah. You can tell how interesting Yate is, can't you?
Yeah.
By the fact we've talked about Wetherspoons being mixed in with Poundlands, and the fact that the railway station has a northbound and a southbound station on the other side of the main road.
And a lot of people have worked bloody hard just to come up with this stuff. I tell you, you should have seen what the starting point, but there you go.
But nevertheless, it will be an interesting day out.
Very doable.
Because we will have. So far we haven't played Yate.
No.
By the end of this match, we will have played them twice. Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's almost a double header either side of Christmas, isn't it? Really. But
good fun.
That's
so
part 2 and the final part of our January ground guides.
And the solitary guy in the pub has got up and left.
No, actually, I think he's drowning his sorrows at the bar.
It's Yate, it does that effect on people, but we better not share this one with Yate FC, had we?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not. Every town has its intrinsic values. It's just we haven't found them. But we will. When we get there, we'll find them. It's a nondescript entity, Yate, in that it doesn't seem to have any remarkable history, and it's mainly borne out by its location. It's near enough to Bath that Bath takes all the interest away, because Bath is a lovely, lovely town. Lovely city, and Bristol just swallows up everything else.
So it's
only 50 miles from Hereford. To be quite honest, it might have been near Hartlepool as far as I'm concerned. I've never heard of it before.
Don't even appear to have a disciplinary officer for us to talk about.
No, they don't. But they do have a Wetherspoons, which will please a lot of people. Right, well.
So there you go, folks. Enjoy.
And we will bring our February ground guides to you when you are back.
Our best pub emptying talk coming up next.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you all again soon. Bye now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls. Match Day Live.